So all in all, it's allow you to get it's a free tool also, really important. It's a free tool. There is some other analytics tool. What I'm calling analytics is tools that allows you to get data from your website, but Google Analytics is free, which is why it's super famous and super useful.
I have a question. This is a
Sure.
tool that can help me when defining like different segments, persona, engagement.
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
okay, so I can use this tool to.
Absolutely. This is a tool that allows you to do that. And actually, that was one of my main points I was talking about. I got my little note just right here. Yes. So setting, I'll start also before we jump into this tool. For setting Google Analytics, it's a piece of code that you have to put into your website. It's pretty easy, and Google's have excellent documentation that guides you step by step on how to do it. So whether you are a developer or whether you are not, for example, I am not a developer. I don't know how to read code. I don't know how to type code. I just know how to read numbers like those are showing on my screen right now. So it's pretty easy, and I've been able to implement it on several websites. So when you're going to log into Google, once you create your Google Analytics account and once you implemented it on your website, you're going to arrive to the screen. So as you can see here, so it's called Home right here, and it shows you basically what happens in the last 7 days. So you can see the number of users you get, number of sessions. Sessions, it's a difference at user because one user can have several sessions. One user can go into your website, leave, and then go back again onto your website.
So how do you can you just describe what is a session? How do you count session?
Yes, a session is a metric used by Google, and it's basically it's, I would say, a window of 30 minutes. That's how they describe it. So if, for example, I'm user A, I'm Pierre, I'm going to your non-profit organization website, and I'm gonna go onto your website, play around, gonna read some pages, and I'm gonna leave the website, and 1 hour later, I'm gonna go back to the website. Since 1 hour is more than 30 minutes, obviously, it's gonna count at 2 sessions. But if I if I do the same action, but instead of 1 hour, it should be 20 minutes, that's gonna be only 1 session.
Okay, so it's above 30 minutes and under 30 minutes.
Absolutely. I generally do not track the session in terms of KPI, in terms of top metrics to track, to look for. What I'm generally goes is users. That's what we want to talk. That's what we want to see. Are they decreasing? Are they increasing? So that homepage allows you to get a quickly overview of that. Then you get the bounce rate. Bounce rate is also a quite interesting metric. Bounce rate means a person that goes into your website and leave straight away without doing anything. You're gonna get people that goes into your website and maybe they misclicked. Maybe it was not the website they intended for. Maybe the website was too confusing, and they're leaving straight away. And so your bounce rate will go higher. This is a metric that Google use for SEO, for search engine optimization, which in which order does Google rank your website?
Is it related to, I just think about like new audiences, if you want to expose your content or your website, so you want your bounce rate to go up and then to translate it for like additional...
Not entirely related. This is, I would say, side effect, but definitely not 100% related. And then last metrics that Google show you straight away is a session duration. So that speaks pretty for himself. It's how long, in average, does user stay on your website. So you can see here. So this website, it's a boat rental company in Italy. It's called Spartivento. You got the name just right here, and basically it's telling me that their user, we've been pushing some improvements to the website, which is kind of positive. Just right here, I can see that the number of users increasing week per week. So the full line is the actual week. I mean, today and the last 7 days. And the dotted line represents the same period, but before. So not the last 7 days, but the 7 day even before. So it allows you to compare data on the same window.
Can you repeat just the last sentence?
Sure, sorry. So here you get this little graph, and the full line represents the last 7 days, the last week. So you get today, we are the 9th, so here the 9th should be here, but the last 7 weeks, and then you get the dotted line just below. It's the last 7 days just before the week, this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry if I don't get the English word for it.
No, you're great.
So that's what you get when you first logged into your Google Analytics account. That's what you're gonna appear into you. Then you can scroll down a bit, and you get more. You can dive more into what you said, segments and personas and target audience. So you can see how do you acquire customers, and you can see day per day, or you can change here the days, the window, last 90 days, 2 days, yesterday's. Where do people come from before coming to your website? Did they come from by organic search, meaning they typed into Google a keyword that your website ranked for? For example, for me, the boat rental company would be renting a boat in Sicily, or Rome boat rental company. Did they come from through direct search, meaning that people goes into Google search bar and they type directly your website, www.spartevento.com.
Mm-hmm.
Did they come from paid search? Paid search means did they come from Facebook, from LinkedIn ads, or Google ads? Social media, which is different from paid search. Social media, of course, it's Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, but Facebook organic posts, not Facebook social ads. And then others. On other, you can get referral traffic, meaning other external websites. For example, for your non-profit organization, that could be coming from a website that lists all the non-profit organizations into your area or your country. So yeah, you get a pretty nice view of where does it come from and how does it evolve, right? Does your organic search is increasing or decreasing? So 7 days might be a little bit lower to get a full overview. What you want to do may sometime is to click to bigger windows, like 90 days. And I can see that, all right, this is pretty bad actually. I can see that my organic search is decreasing over the last 3 months. I probably want to act on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you scroll down a bit again, you can see now it's more related to segments. So segment is, for Google, basic segment is people coming like pack of 1 week. I'd say, since we are coming through on this website on this week, will be segment A, but people that went to the website last week will be segment B. And you can see how do they react on your website. How long do they come from again? Do they go into your website again? What percentage of people that logged into the website this week went again into the website? I don't know if it's clear. Sorry, I get a little bit confused with the word.
No, it's okay. It makes me wonder. I just ask a question to make sure I understand.
Sure, go for it.
Based on this, the right side of how well do you this user retention?
Mm-hmm.
So can you understand what they were looking for just to increase your retention?
Not yet, and I'm going to show you right after how you can look for the data. I'm just going to finish with a quick introduction of the homepage, and because the homepage is just a basic summary on then what you can find later into Google Analytics in more details.
Okay.
And just to finish it with the demographics, so you can see here when do they visit, which day, what time. It's pretty useful to know, for example, when do you need to advertise on your website, from which country. So you can see it's Italy, mostly, and from which device, desktop, mobile, tablet. And how does it, once again, you can select time window just right here.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, this is something that you might be interested in for regarding your last question. And this is your top most popular pages on the website. So you can see here, this is the homepage. When you get a dash just right here, this means your homepage, and then you get the different URL. And you can see how much page view you get on the last 7 days. And once again, you can dig a little bit more detail right after. Does that answer your question?
Yes, of course.
Yes, all right, perfect. And last but not least, the goal completion. So Google Analytics allows you to track behavior on your website, and you can set up goals. Goals meaning that you set up by yourself that your user have to do some certain action. For example, purchasing your service, purchasing a product, clicking on a certain button, or visiting some certain page. And once again, you decide on Google Analytics what is a goal regarding your website. For example, once again, for your non-profit organization, a goal can be someone who donates or someone who contacts you through your contact form or through any means of contacting you, right? Mm-hmm. And you can track this goal just right here. So you can see, for example, for this website again, I got a form, a request form that I name Form IT for Italian, first step. And I can see that I got 76% this week that use this goal, that completed this goal. So then through all those features that I get here, I can act upon this goal, and I will show you how you can do it too. So you get, as I said, you get several features, just like you get real-time, audience, acquisition, behavior, and conversions. I generally suggest to not look at real-time. This is basically a waste of time. I'm just going to show you quickly what it does. It does show you in real time the number of people into your website, where do they come from, what do they do. But once again, you can't really do any action based on that, right? Because it's real time. So sometimes maybe you can go see one just right here, like one person on the website, or maybe sometimes like most of the time is 0. It can be quite useful though if you are a news media company, or if you're someone just logged in from Bologna, right? I got one user on my website.
I have a family member in Bologna, so maybe.
All right. And so unless your company get features on TV or get featured by the big news outlets, it's pretty wasteful to look into these metrics real time. So I'm going to pass on that. Audience is way more interesting though. Audience is basically building your persona, building your target audience, and see what do they do, what do they like, and which device do they use. So you get, first of all, you get the overview where you can see number of people, once again, number of new people coming to your website. So you can, same as the homepage, but with more details. And here you can play around. You get a lot of filters regarding demographic, regarding interest, geo-targetings, Italy, US again, behavior, news versus returning, engagement, technology, mobile. I generally tend not to spend too much time looking at the data because you can get lost pretty easily. Get lost meaning that you're gonna spend 30 minutes looking at how much mobile visitors versus desktop visitors versus tablets coming from the US age between 25 to 35. Can be pretty interesting knowing these data, but if you don't know what kind of action to do after that, it can be a waste of time. Mm-hmm. So
I think, first of all, you need to set your objectives, right. And then maybe just to go to the data and.
Absolutely. This is one my advice, and you basically just summarize it perfectly. If you want to log into Google Analytics, go with specific goals in mind, specific objectives. Otherwise, you're going to waste so many minutes, so many hours just looking at the data because it's your website. So you want to know, it's always interesting. Oh, where do they people come from? What do they do? What do they like? But you're going to spend so much time just looking at it without any specific action right after. Yeah. So audience here is, as I say, to get an overview of what does people that goes into a website, what do they do? No, not what do they do, but what do they like? How do they act? And where do they come from? Language, locations. Do they use mobile? Do they use a specific browser, a specific network? But once again, it might be too details unless your name is Forbes or Fox Channels or BBC. You basically don't need to know all of that. Acquisition, a little bit more interesting. Acquisition will allow you to see, before going to your website, where does those people come from? And you can see details with completion, and that's pretty good. So I'm going to activate just right here by clicking here. I'm going to click on all goals. And we're going to find again the goals that we are tracking for. I used to track, which is from IT first steps. And here I will get a pretty good overview of the conversion rate for my goals per channel acquisition. And I can see just right here that the referral, meaning people that come from other websites, they are converting pretty high. So I might want to act upon these data, and maybe I want to increase my referral traffic, or maybe I want to decrease my paid search action. But since I can see that my paid search action, which is Google Ads, convert also pretty nice, maybe I want to put more budget into paid search and getting more users coming from this. Does it make sense?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
All right, good. So yeah, acquisitions allows you, and I will be honest, this is maybe where you're gonna spend most of your time on. Acquisition allow you to see where those people come from and do they convert. And once again, the bounce rate. Maybe bounce rate. We were talking with Melinda just before you came. Bounce rates, if it's too high, you gotta do something about it. And for example, if paid search, your bounce rate is way too higher than it should be, maybe you gotta stop, invest into paid search or change your strategy.
Because you just want to change your bounce rates just to convert it to actual.
Absolutely, it's all related. A higher bounce rate meaning that people, they're not interested into your website, so they probably not they will probably not convert.
Pierre, your conversion rate for paid search looks really high. What is industry standard for new businesses starting out? I mean, for us to get, above 10%, it sounds challenging.
No, it's not challenging, and I don't think there is standard. 10% is quite high. Generally speaking, I would see conversion rates between 5 or 8%, but it will depend on what is the goal. My goal here is just a basic form completion. There is no payment. People doesn't need to get their credit card and pay and need to put their email address. It's just basic form completion. So that is why the conversion rate is pretty high. But if I was setting, I don't know, trade miles, for example, which can cost a lot of money, my conversion rate will be much more lower than that.
And you set a numeric objective?
You can set a numeric objective, absolutely. That's a really good
question. But then,
question.
like, the percentage will change according to your numeric objective.
Absolutely, yes. And that's all your setup when you create your Google Analytics account. That's something that Google guides you. Once again, saying, all right, how much does this conversion get you in terms of money? Where do you want to put these conversions? They guide you, so you get to follow step by step, and then all you can see is the magic, is the data. So, and then here on your left, you can dive a little bit more into details regarding those acquisition channels. But if you just want to take another look, is this channel working? Is it not? That view should be enough. One thing you can do though is you can click here and compare to previous period or other periods, which sometimes previous period should be more than enough. And you can see, is your paid search effort working? Is it not? Does your traffic, how much does your traffic is evolving? And once again, the bounce rate. For example, if you change your homepage or if you create new blog posts, how does your audience is reacting to that? So you can see through acquisition here, all those data. So now we know what kind of people are coming to your website, where do they come from, but there is one missing data. What page do they see? And this is something that you can click here on behavior, and you get all the data regarding your site content per URL. So there is a lot of data because I'm still in compare mode, so just have to turn it off, apply again, and you can see here all the page, all the, I would say, bigger view that we had from the home page of the most popular pages. And if you click on full report, you can get a much more detailed view, which bounce rate, entrance, percentage of exits, percentage of exit, meaning people that basically left your website from this page, which is a little bit different than bounce rate, because percentage of exit, maybe people that clicked on something into your website. Bounce rate just means that they did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're looking for something. They just look for something specific.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And so with behavior, you can basically see what page is the most popular. And once again, here it's only 10. Do not hesitate to get a full report by sorting by hundreds. And if you want to get even into more details, you can export your data. If you click here, you can export all your data in the big big Excel sheet file sheet, sorry. And then you can apply some Excel formula, which, for example, summarize or grouping page, or you can dive into deeper data with Excel than Google Analytics allows you to. But yeah, you can. So you can see here what page is the most important, and you can act upon that. Maybe you published a new blog post, and you can see that your blog post doesn't receive as much love as you hope it would be. So maybe it's because you didn't share it enough, or you share it enough, but it's not accessible to your website, or your content is too thin because your time on site is too low. So you get to recreate, you get to rewrite your blog articles. So with this feature, yes, go for it.
How much time do you take before you change something? Like, you based on your data, you see that something is not changing or the traffic is too low. How much time do you take until you do this?
That's a really good question. Yeah, really good questions. My answer is as generic as possible. I'm gonna say it depends. It will depend on how big is your website. If, once again, you are Fox News and you are driving hundreds of thousands of visitors per day, then you don't wait too much before you make any change. But on the opposite, if your website is driving only a dozen of visitors per day or per week, then you gotta wait till your sample size is high, which once again is gonna depend on your average traffic you receive per day and per week. I hope it was not too generic, but there is no like magic formula. For me, this is what I do. It's gonna completely depend into the niche and the website I'm working on. For example, for this one, I see that you receive per day around 300 to 1,000 persons. So I'm gonna wait a couple of days before making any change. But on the opposite, if I get a website with much lower traffic, I'm gonna wait maybe months before making any big change.
And I guess it's just based on experience, and it's your own website. You have the touch to understand where something's go wrong. And
absolutely, there is no magic formula. It all depends on the size you're playing with. Yes.
But it sounds like there is some sense of statistical significance. Like, if only 100 people have seen it, you can't really know if there's a trend. But if 10,000 people, then you can really see if there's a trend. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. Yes. If you one rule of thumb that you can apply though is if you publish something and in the last 6 months it doesn't receive a lot of traffic, then you can act upon. But if it's only been a few months, is like 1, 2, 3, or 4, you can wait a little bit longer before deleting the page, before modifying the content, or before doing anything. So that's a good that would be a good rule of thumb. Yeah. Finally, with Google Analytics, you can see here site speed, which basically is your website good enough regarding the technical side, which can be a little bit complicated if you are not an engineers or techies. If you're working with them, you can still send them the report and then they will know what to do. But unless you are speaking the same language as them, I would recommend not to play around too much with this feature. Not because it will change something to the website, but it will mean nothing. For if you doesn't know what does this graph means, what does this average page loading time means, what you gotta know is if it's high, it's bad. If it's low, it's good. The lower, the better. But once again, if you're not an engineer, I would not recommend spending too much time on it. Generally speaking, I do trust engineers, and they know the jobs. I know mine. So the job is to make the website as best as possible, and my job is to drive traffic to the website. It might be kind of dangerous also if you're working with engineers. If you send them, all right, why does the website have been increasing in terms of loading speed? They might take it personally. Are you criticizing my work? So you got to be careful with that. It's just basic human management.
Yeah.
I would not like if someone say, "Oh, Pierre, I've been noticing that the website traffic have been decreasing. What have you been doing in the past 4 months?" I would like, I'm just doing my job, you know.
Oh.
I have another question about the
sure.
like persona.
Right.
Which kind of details can you withdraw from sample? Like, is it possible to understand the type except the geographical region and the age and maybe the interest, but like, for example, the like the title or the academic background, just to be more targeted when you publish your content or just update your website.
Completely understand, but unfortunately, Google allows you just to not to get into much traffic. Basically, age, gender, and interest. You can know what they like, and you can do some hypotheses. For example, someone who loves luxury shopper, they probably have a lot of purchasing power, meaning maybe they went into a higher academic diploma, but you cannot know where did they graduated, did they went to high school, you cannot know this data with Google Ads. Otherwise, you can use Facebook ads or Facebook analytics for knowing these data. Facebook ads allows you to target people which are much more, I would say, on a much more detailed level than Google Analytics allows. So you can get a much bigger picture with this tool, with Facebook ads. Gotta get into account that if you want to build persona, use as much as tool as you can. So I would highly recommend using, of course, Google Analytics, but also maybe Twitter, maybe Facebook, maybe anywhere you get a social presence, anywhere people can act and communicate with your business.
And there are third parties, right? I just saw a webinar, like marketing webinar. So they mentioned like third agencies, third party agencies that.
Yeah, they are using third party tools for gathering these data. Mm-hmm. But you can access that pretty easily. You just have to, if you're if your business has a Facebook page, which I think in 2020 everybody does, you can get this data really just by 2 clicks away. So,
Okay.
but for building personas, it's with Google Analytics, it's okay-ish. This is definitely not the best tool. It just gives you a big overview, especially that Google has been criticized a lot with, in Europe, you got the GDPR, and I think you get something similar in the US.
Privacy.
Privacy, yes, right. Privacy control, this kind of, you know, big controversy subjects where, generally speaking, it tends to reduce the amount of data you get in regarding demographics, and it gets a lot of unknown regarding Google Analytics demographic trackings.
Yeah.
So take it with a grain of salt, you know. All right, and just to finish it, you can track here. So we've seen that into the acquisition tabs, acquisition feature, you can track basically your conversion, your goal. But if you want to know what page do they specifically visit before, you can click here and get a reverse goal path, which gonna shows you did they went. So you can see my goal is a form presentazione. And you can see, did they went before straight to the home page? Did they visit specific set of page before converting, which allows you once again to draw some trends and maybe change the way you structure your website or change the way you change your content on your websites. But otherwise, that's the only interesting features you're gonna use most of your time into the conversion tabs. Otherwise, you might spend, once again, 1 hour, 4 hours just by clicking and looking at data without knowing what does it mean.
Pierre, can you show me the funnel visualization?
The funnel visualization here?
No, the funnel.
Oh no, here. Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that. So here you change, and the funnel is. This is how does it look like. But the funnel is something that you have to set it up on your settings. And since I'm not an e-commerce company, that's something that I really did not take into account, because people from this website and most of the websites, people can contact or buy your services from several pages: the homepage, the service page, the contact page. So it doesn't make really big sense to track through this funnel visualization. How much does it behave?
Okay.
All right. Oh yeah, no. Last thing I wanted to show you, which is, it can be quite complicated. It took me a while before figuring this out, but it's always nice to know it exists. It's when you click on multi-channel funnel, you got at the bottom of it model comparison tool. And what does it do? Basically, Google's track your conversion and track your user based on what they call attribution model. Attribution model is how do they take into consideration your conversions. I will take a proper example. For example, last interaction. Last interaction is Google will take into consideration the last interaction your customer got before buying, before converting. For example, did their last interaction was going into the homepage, or does it was going through Facebook ads or Google ads? And you can see with those visual little graph is picking for themselves. You can change your models, your attribution models. And by changing your attribution model just right here, it might change your cost per acquisition on those channels. For example, you can compare model acquisition, so last interaction, and I'm going to compare with, let's say, linear, meaning that each channels account for 25%. And I can see here that CPA stands for cost per acquisitions. I can see here that with a linear model, my cost per acquisition on paid search is a little bit lower. basically what does it mean is that paid search can account for much bigger, I mean, it's more important that I would first notice with the last interaction model. It really, I would say it's advanced level regarding Google Analytics. This is not something that you use every day. This is something you will use maybe once or twice per year, just to get to know which attribution model to use. But and this website, it might be a terrible example. Let me see if I can use another one. Right, much bigger website with much more conversions. You can see here, and per conversions, I'm going to rephrase it. Per conversions, per channels, you get a cost per acquisition. So, example, for this website, per search, the cost per acquisitions is yes, right. And by analyzing and comparing attribution model, you can see that the cost per acquisition is changing. So sometimes you will notice that, all right, maybe my display advertising is not working, or maybe working on blogs does not work at all because I do not drive any sale from that. But by comparing attribution model, you can find that sometimes it might be wrong, and sometimes your blogs, it can be your ones of the channels that are contributing the most to your selling.
Yeah, but the most valuable channel.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
All right. Let me check my little notes, see if I didn't miss anything I wanted to talk to you about. I think I spoke about everything I wanted to talk about.
Thank you very much.
This was
very
interesting. I really hope it was okay. Sometimes it can go really into details, and if you take into my consideration that sometimes I do not speak properly, might be a little bit harder to follow and to learn. But I really hope you learn some stuff.
So you were great. Everything was very clear, so I enjoyed very much, and thank you. It's very valuable content for me.
That was just a basic introduction to Google Analytics, and I showed you what I used every day as data, which you don't need to spend 1 hour per day in Google Analytics. Sometimes just 10 minutes, just to see is it increasing, is it decreasing? That's it.
Yeah. Great.
And then sometime maybe once per month or once every 6 months, one per semester, gonna dive into details to see, all right, how do they react, how do they act, this kind of stuff. But otherwise, once again, you don't need to spend too much time on Google Analytics. Just to see if my acquisition efforts are working, are they converting, what works, what does not work, and that's it.
Just to identify the general trends.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Pierre, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Pierre.